Coming up, we'll tell you why it's important to mail back that census form.
And if it's springtime, that means it's time for the Bryan ISD Art Fest. I'm Sandy Ferris.
And I'm Alan Brugman, and this is Bryan Living and Learning. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Bryan Living and Learning. Coming up, the City of Bryan will tell you about an art fair that's coming to our downtown Bryan. We'll also show you a tour that our council members recently went on.
And we'll tell you about music education for a special group of students. The Kickstart Kids program is coming to Davalin Middle School this fall, and we'll tell you about the construction progress on the new Carver Kemp campus.
Before we get to those stories, however, we have a special feature on the Bryan Fire Department. We all know that the Bryan Fire Department answers fire calls as well as automobile accidents. But what are they doing when they're not answering calls? Gearing up is a daily task for members of the Bryan Fire Department, and not only when they're responding to calls. Each and every day involves so much more for these emergency responders than putting out fires and answering medical calls.
Obviously, public safety and answering calls is our #1 priority, but we're at work 7 in the morning to 7 in the morning. So we show up at work, first thing in the morning we have a roll call. We go over events for the day, street closings, hydrants out. You know, City of Bryan's doing a lot of upgrading, so it's a constant thing to try and keep up with.
Once they finish with their morning roll call tasks, each shift includes some sort of training. But first, they complete a quick check of all their equipment.
Each shift we do a thorough check of everything. Stuff breaks, we know that.
On the day we spent with them, crews from stations 1 and 4 met at the 18th Street Training Tower to perform hydrant training. Training like this or something similar happens every day to ensure that the fire department employees stay fresh.
Fire service isn't quite like riding a bicycle. Once you learn it, you can forget a lot of the things. There's so many different scenarios that we have to train for to be ready for at a moment's notice, so we have to stay on top of those things.
Everyday training is also important because there are certain guidelines established by the state of Texas that must be met.
We make sure we far exceed those standards. Just makes for a safer city.
In fact, the entire department has a training calendar that each of the stations follow, including medical training.
Another week of the month we do heavy EMS training, emergency medical services. And there's so many medical advancements going on as far as pre-hospital care. That's something that we really have to stay on top of.
Even when they're not training, there are plenty of ways to stay busy. There's a schedule for each of the vehicles to be maintained on a regular basis.
Get the oil change, check the tires, brakes. We go through a whole punch list of things just to make sure that the units are always in tip-top shape.
And even after they answer a call, there's a mountain of paperwork awaiting the firefighters when they get back to the station.
After we do have an emergency run, there's a lot more to it than when we take a patient to the hospital or we put the house fire out. For an EMS run, there's usually close to an hour of paperwork that a firefighter on the ambulance has to do. And then as a lieutenant, I have to review all the paperwork, and for fire runs, I have to do my own. So that takes up a good deal of the day.
So really, being a firefighter is just like any other job, only it's much more dangerous and the shifts are 24 hours long.
Most people work 8 to 5, we work 8 to 5 nonstop. But then in the evenings, we don't go home, we stay working. So it's a little bit more low-key after 5, 6, 7 o'clock, but in emergency services, that's usually when the action picks up for us. So we stay busy pretty well 24 hours.
And some of Bryan's fire stations are outfitted with chairs and televisions, but those areas are off limits during the workday.
We don't really have an opportunity to be in our rooms or in front of a TV from 8 to 5 especially, but it is also in policy that 8 to 5 is no workday.
Even with all that training, the top priority has always been to answer those calls and help keep our citizens safe.
If we're out here training, we get a call, we go. If it takes an hour, we'll be back here in an hour. If it takes 4 hours, we'll be back here in 4 hours.
Well, Alan, I drive by station number 3 frequently, and I do see them out there maintaining those vehicles.
Yeah, I imagine it takes up a big part of their day, but I'm glad that those vehicles will be ready when an emergency does happen.
Well, the end of March is traditionally the time for the Bryan ISD Art Fest. We recently spent some time with art teachers talking about the preparation for that event and also about art education in Bryan ISD.
Every year, students from across the district have the opportunity to show off their artistic skill at the annual Art Fest held at Bryan High School. Elementary, middle school, and high school students all display some of the projects they've created in art class during the school year. Every art class from every campus participates, which makes for lots of art.
It really is set up a little bit like a museum gallery. All the different schools have display tables set up, and the art from those schools is all displayed for the viewers to see and the students to see.
Lots of art also means lots of preparation for the art teachers throughout the district.
What goes into getting ready for Art Fest? So much. Well, you first have to pick out 50 pieces. That's what our limit is. And when I have about 800, or a little less than 800 students, picking out 50 pieces is a bit of a chore. At the very beginning of the school year, I start, as I grade papers, I pull pieces aside that I think might be good for Art Fest. And that's where the whittling down comes, because I had about 85 pieces. I had to take it down to 50. And today I graded a whole bunch too that I thought, wow, that would have been nice to have that one in. But I pretty much committed myself, so.
Middle school, we have about 30 pieces. We kind of try and keep it to about 30 pieces that we show. And it's just an example of the variety of things that we've done throughout the year, a few of each one of our assignments that we've worked on. And at this time of the year, a lot of that has been two-dimensional things, because we usually do the three-dimensional things later here in the year.
My Drawing 2 students are the ones that I'm displaying at this year's Art Fest, because there's so much work from them, and they've really just worked really hard to finish the projects that they have and polish them up and make them look really nice so they can be displayed on Saturday.
On the day of the event, students, families, staff, administrators, and community members have the opportunity to stroll through the exhibit and enjoy hundreds of student-created art pieces. Paintings, drawings, sculpture, and more fill Bryan High's Silver Cafeteria.
Well, I send out invitations to the kids to come with their families, and not only do they get to view their artwork and everyone else's, which is pretty incredible, but they also have some workshops set up so they can go do artwork as well as just walk around and look at it. And they love it, the ones that do show up.
In general, there's always a really good turnout. I'm usually surprised at how many students show up and stay and look at all of the artwork from the elementaries and middle and high school. But there's always a good turnout. There's lots of teachers and administrators that come in from all the schools. But it just gives us a chance to show the students that we appreciate the hard work that they've done throughout the year, and I think they all get really excited to see their own stuff hanging up.
Sandy, now the artwork is done by students from kindergarten all the way up to 12th grade, so you can really see the progression of the art.
You really can, and every year when I attend this event, I'm just really blown away by the caliber of artwork that our students are creating.
Speaking of art, there's going to be a downtown art fair in our downtown Bryan. We recently spoke with one of the organizers to preview the event. Coinciding with Texas A&M's Parents Weekend, the Downtown Street and Art Fair will be held Saturday, April 17th in Bryan. The event lasts from 10 to 6 and will also feature an art relief project with proceeds going to the Haiti earthquake victims. The event, which is put on by downtown's MSC Forsyth Center Galleries, is expected to be large, but yet have a tight-knit feel. Organizers say that in most all cases, the actual artist will be at the tent themselves, describing their artwork and selling it to the fairgoers. There will be paintings, jewelry, pottery, photography, and other forms of art available. The main section of the fair will be held on 26th Street between Bryan and Parker Avenues. The art fair is just another event that's taking place in downtown Bryan. But even when those fairs and special events aren't occurring in downtown Bryan, there's a lot of stuff to do, as you can see in our latest commercial. First Fridays to fine dining, arts, shopping, and entertainment, and Texas Red Steak and Grape Festival. Come visit downtown Bryan.
Well, Alan, I saw the commercial on Facebook, and it looked like there was a lot of positive comment about it.
Yeah, it's great to see and get a little validation about the downtown Bryan area, that it's what our citizens want and it's what they enjoy doing.
Well, Bryan ISD offers a comprehensive education for our special needs students. What many may not realize is that music education is a part of that.
Well, music therapy is using music to reach educational goals. And so I'm kind of not tricking, but using music to teach the kids educationally. And so this is, they're kind of working on their education things when they're, as well as they're having fun doing this. We have 5 chime choirs in our district. Jane Long Middle School, SFA Middle School, Davila Middle School, and there's 2 at Rudder High School. Over the district-wide, I'd say up to 50 students are involved in this. The life skills class as a whole class participate as an ensemble group. The teachers help lead it, and the assistants help too. And they're basically given a cylindrical chime, and they're with a letter on it. And they're looking at a chart, and they're reading the chart, waiting for their turn to play, and then they play as a whole group, and then they have a song when they're done. We usually practice once a week for an hour, and they perform once during the fall semester and once during the spring semester. In the fall semester, we usually play Christmas songs, then we go to nursing homes, and they'll even make cookies and cards and take to the residents, and it's just a great opportunity for them to be in the community and show what they've been learning. And in the spring, we visit the elementary life skills classes, and they get to show the younger children what they might be getting to do when they move up to middle school or high school level to participate in chime choir. Most songs need at least 8 notes to play, and but we have played songs up to like almost 18 notes, which means if I only have 8 kids playing, they have to play 2 or 3 chimes at one time. So they have to really know and watch what chime is in what hand, and those are some of those kids who have been doing this a couple of years can really do that really well, better than me. Well, music is an important thing anyway. It's in our lives. It's been proven that music really helps in education, you know, the way your brain works and connects and stuff. And then when you take that music and you make it into an ensemble, it really gives you a different aspect of working together as a team and creating something bigger. And for these special ed kids, it's even more, gives them more self-esteem as working together as a team and doing those kinds of things as well. This gives them a great opportunity to be proud of something that they're doing. They see regular ed students maybe getting achievements or awards, and this gives them something to be really proud of that they can do. They can tell their parents, and their parents can come watch or get an opportunity to do something like this. And this is something they can take to the community. They can take with them the rest of their lives. You know, they'll have those skills for later in life.
You did a good job. We did a good job of Somewhere Over the Rainbow, didn't we?
Well, Sandy, it's really neat that those students are able to learn about music, but it looks like they're learning about a lot more.
Well, they really are. So much of special education instruction involves individualized instruction because of the different disabilities that they're dealing with, but this gives them a chance to work together in a group, and it's just really beneficial for them.
At this point, you may or may not have received your census form from the United States government. If you've already mailed back your form, we appreciate that. If you haven't, here are some key reasons why you should. After months of anticipation and promotion, Census 2010 is upon us, which means it's now time to mail back your census forms so our community can receive its proper share of $400 billion of federal money.
Basically, that money can be used for anything from hospitals to bridges, bilingual programs within the community, basically all kinds of community services and projects.
Some folks who have already opened their forms have been concerned about the telephone number question, but don't be alarmed.
Really, the only thing that the Census Bureau would use that for is if for some reason you make a mistake on your form, or maybe something you put on there is not very clear, they're going to call you and basically ask you questions that they have, if they have any.
And depending upon when you're seeing this show, the Census Day may have already passed, so mail in your forms as soon as possible.
Census Day is April 1st, and so they want to try to encourage everybody to get their forms back by April 1st.
Census workers will begin going door to door in May to retrieve information that hasn't been mailed in. Next, in our council update segment, we'll tell you about our tour that our city council members recently went on.
At a recent City Council meeting, our council toured $40 million worth of capital improvement projects. Another $17 million worth of projects are scheduled for this fiscal year. On Tuesday, March 9th, council members and city staff boarded a bus to start the tour. On board, city engineer Paul Casper served as a guide, showcasing several of the CIP projects. Some of the projects include downtown renovations, the old Reliance Road overpass expansion, sidewalks, and water lines. The city has secured a significant amount of grant funding to assist in paying for the projects. As always, if you'd like to watch a council meeting in its entirety, you can log on to bryantx.gov.
Well, Alan, it looks like they covered a lot of ground in that tour.
Yeah, that's why they took them out there. They wanted to show those council members all the different projects that they may not see on a day-to-day basis.
Kickstart Kids is a character education and martial arts program that's coming to Davila Middle School this fall.
The Kickstart program will be starting in the fall of this year, the school year 2010. The goal of the program is to begin to involve students in the Kickstart program through the physical education. Instead of taking a regular PE class, the student would have the opportunity to take the Kickstart program as a PE elective. This is in 6th grade, 7th grade, and in 8th grade as well. So this program gives the children then an opportunity to get that karate. It's basically a karate class where they would learn not just the skills of karate, but also they would learn other aspects that involved in the martial arts, such as self-respect, respect towards peers and adults and whatnot.
Hi, I'm Chuck Norris. This is my wife, Gina. We want to talk to you about our kids. They're our greatest hope and our greatest worry. They are constantly pressured by gangs, drugs, crime, and violence. And while government, schools, and parents have tried, the answer really lies in the kids themselves. That's right, the answer lies in the kids themselves. And through the martial arts, a discipline that trains the mind as well as the body, we have found one of the strongest and most effective ways we can reach today's kids. Instructing kids in the martial arts offers a structured and safe environment, a close mentoring relationship with an authority figure, and a chance to bring out the best in themselves, all wrapped up in a program that's fun, exciting, and personally fulfilling. And when kids start caring about themselves, they start caring about others and about their own personal goals and future without drugs, without gangs, and without violence.
I'm looking forward to seeing the positive effect that it makes on the students. For the most part, some of our students may use this as an opportunity, again, to improve themselves and how they make choices. And so I'm hoping that we've got students who really need to be in a program like this to help them have that self-discipline, learn the self-discipline, learn the respect for adults that, you know, we do see lacking in some of our youth today, in today's culture. So hopefully this program can help some of those kids shape their lives and help them make better choices and ultimately better human beings for that matter.
Well, Sandy, I bet that'd be a pretty neat show to watch. Is there any opportunity for folks here in town to watch them?
Actually, there are a couple of opportunities coming up. At First Friday in downtown Bryan on April 2nd, we'll have a demo team at the Palace Theater. And then on May 6th, we have a community-wide thank you event the district is holding, and there will be a chance to see them again there.
Our next story is our Be Green and Bryan segment, and for that segment, we check in with some of our local area master gardeners. On a sunny March afternoon, several master gardeners and aspiring master gardeners tended to the demonstration garden at their facility on Highway 21 in Bryan. A new crop of residents are currently training to become a part of the Brazos County Master Gardeners.
Master gardeners are trained volunteers, and they are trained to provide research-based horticultural information to clients in the community that they reside. So it's horticultural information specific to that area of Texas.
They accept new members just once a year, and they'll be accepting applications in the fall.
To become a master gardener, first you apply. We offer one training course a year, and so we interview applicants to make sure that they understand what they're getting into and to make sure it's a good fit. We look for experienced gardeners because the course is advanced training. And it's a minimum of 50 hours, and it varies from county to county, but here in our county it's about a 60-hour training.
After that classroom work, you have to put in 50 volunteer hours out in the community. some of which can take place at the demonstration garden.
A big portion of our education is in demonstration gardens here, and we're fortunate to have one. Not every Master Gardener group has one, but we do. And we know that that's important because people love hands-on learning, and they can do that. And our demonstrations, they can come by and see them, make adjustments to apply them and use them in their own home.
Master gardeners then use their knowledge to assist novice gardeners throughout our area.
Essentially, there are our fingers and our voices out in the community where, you know, they can help people that they go to church with, that they work with, that they are in different organizations and clubs with. But then they have specific resources that they offer here in the community for people.
And that's especially helpful considering how easy and popular gardening is.
Gardening is one of the top hobbies, pastimes in the United States, and it's increasing in popularity. It is a pastime that people can do for many, many years. You have many, many senior citizens that continue to garden. So we have a lot of people out there that need information.
For more information on the Master Gardeners, visit them online at brazosmg.com for applications and events they have coming up this spring.
Well, construction is continuing on time for a new facility that will house Kemp and Carver students beginning this fall.
Right now we're constructing a replacement facility for Kemp Elementary for the kindergarten through 5th grade levels. It is located directly behind the existing campus. Will include keeping the current gymnasium and doing some renovations in that area. It's really a neat structure. We're building an extension on McElroy Street, and it will connect Martin Luther King and Saunders Street. And the new campus will face that new section of McElroy. It's a 2-story campus. We'll have about the same capacity as the existing campus, but will provide more ample space for the kids that will be there. Right now, they're doing a lot of masonry work and putting in the interior systems, the plumbing, electrical, and technology. In constructing the interior walls, they have all of the steel work done, and within a few weeks they'll start the exterior masonry, continue with the interior, doing a lot of the site work. The schedule is for us to be open in the fall of 2010. So this fall we'll open up the K through 5 section. Starting this summer, we'll do some demolition of the old campus and some renovation, and then next fall, the fall of 2011, we'll bring over the Carver Early Childhood Center, and they'll occupy their space in that campus. As you walk up to the campus, it's just, with it being a 2-story structure, it's a little taller, has a little bigger curb presence, if you will. It's really a beautiful structure already, even without all the finishes on it. You can see the face of the building is very impressive there along that street, and what an overdue project this is for that part of the community. It's been a rough winter for our contractors. They've done a super job of getting as much work as they can. It's been a very wet winter, so we've had a lot of weather delays, but they're working very hard to stay on schedule. Just had a conversation with them yesterday, in fact, and they said that they project that it'll still be finished in time, and we'll have it open for those kids.
Okay, Sandy, the first group of students will move in the fall, and the second group will follow them up in the spring.
That's right. During the design process, we knew that we wanted to have minimal disruption to the school day, so this gradual phase-in is really going to help with that.
For our last segment here, we have a special feature. It may seem that Sandy and I never mess up here on the set of Bryan Living and Learning. That couldn't be farther from the truth, so we decided to share some of our bloopers with you now.
Oh, hang on, I got to think of one thing. Holiday events.
Thanks for joining us on today's episode.
Good night.
We'll see you later.
Well, Alan, it looked like everybody had a good time, and I think the cold weather probably put people in the mood for something.
Put people in the mood. For the holidays, Sandy. Put people in the mood for the holidays. Rolled over to the... I'm not going to do it. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I know the City of Bryan employees who participated love to get to bowl during the workday. We'll now take you to our Be Green and Bryan segment, and this is about how the city of Bryan is taking a new program and using biofuels in it.
They recently presented their findings to a group at Texas A&M.
A major problem facing farmers.
A major problem facing farmers. That's all the time we have today. Thank you for watching Bryan Living and Learning.
Welcome back from our holiday break. The city of Bryan, we have, welcome back from our extended holiday break. Why do I do that? I forgot what I was going to say.
And we'll also take...
We have some great episodes for you on this episode of Bryan Living and Learning. Is that weird? Yeah. 3, 2... Oh, I said, we have some great episodes on this Bryan. Is there an easier way to say that? I'll just try to. Okay. We wanted to show you a video that we did for our cityofbryanblog.com where some City of Bryan employees offer some New Year's resolutions for you. Hold up a second.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. Wait a minute.
3, 2, 1. Yeah! New management has been in place at the LaSalle Hotel in downtown Bryan for some time now. And that... I think I was going to do it too. And that's the time. That's this week's installment. What? Our last story is about a parkway that City of Bryan officials are gosh dang it.
And we're so appreciative of this. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Matt, this doesn't look like crab claw or something, does it?
I'm not going to take anything back.
Alan, the Forsyth Gallery has some really nice...
I had too much of a grin on my face.
Does the exhibit... sorry.
What's that?
Actually, no. We were able to pay for that equipment using... I just drew a blank.
Bonds and grant money.
Bonds and... Actually, no. We received a grant to install that equipment and the bond money from past years also.
She did it right the first time, Craig. For our next Be Green and Bryan episode, we're going to be showing you about local businesses and how they can help it.
Alan, I think it's so important to continue to emphasize our local sorry.
Well, Sandy, I've never really noticed this before, but it looks like I mess up a lot more than you do.
Well, I wasn't going to say anything, but you're right.
Well, that's all the time we have for you on this episode of Bryan Living and Learning. Thanks for watching.